there's a thin line between heroism and madness.
Here the line fades to nothing at all. This is a world of capes and lunatics.
And nothing is off limits.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Capes and Lunatics Special. Before I throw it to the mastermind himself to explain it, this is like stuff like this is why I wanted to start the Capes and Lunatics podcast. Stuff that wouldn't fit into a show specific or genre specific. It's all pop culture here, so we can do whatever the hell we want. So, all right, I'm going to throw it to the mastermind. Like I said, he came up with this whole idea. If you've listened to any Southgate Media Group podcast, you probably heard him, or at least heard his name uttered. Mr. Jesse Jackson.
Hey, thanks, Bill. Excited to be here. This is kind of fun that we're kind of branching out. What had happened is we have a secret clubhouse on Facebook where we kind of banter back and forth the show host. And someone started harassing someone because they had never watched a certain British long-running TV show that just may have had this groundbreaking change in who is going to be their lead character. And I kind of went to the defense, like, we all have geek blind spots. We all have things that we've not seen. And so we started talking about, maybe in the spirit of kind of a Geek Anonymous, we would all get together and go, hi, I'm Jesse Jackson, and I've never watched blank, or I've never read blank, and kind of do a kind of a roundtable discussion. And surprisingly, a few people said, that might be a fun to show. So that's the premise of the episode. We're going to kind of go round table and discuss the things that we have a blind spot on. And the whole point is there's too much to watch. There's such this history of things. And so this is a safe zone, though we probably will give each other crap because that's what we do. But we'll start out with, I am Jesse Jackson. I do a podcast called Next Stop Everywhere, which is a Doctor Who podcast. And I also do Set Listing Bruce, which is a Bruce Springsteen music podcast, wearing my Set Listing Bruce t-shirt to show. And I am thrilled that Phil kind of is letting me drive the bus today. So, Phil, everyone knows you, but let's go ahead and round the table and introduce yourself.
Well, if you're listening to this podcast, you should know who I am. Phil Perich. Do a few shows on this on the Capes and Lunatics. Do a blog for the Southgate Media Group. The new one, it's the Capes and Lunatics blog. So yeah, just look for Capes and Lunatics everywhere.
Awesome. Kevin? Technology.
Oh, no.
Well, we'll skip Kevin. Hopefully he'll get back. Chris?
Hey, how you doing?
I thought it was Chris's turn.
Oh. No, sorry. All right, let's try this again. Kevin?
All right, I'm Kevin Long. Oh, it says right there, Kevin, and then Chris. Okay, cool. So I'm Kevin. I do the Kevin Long Show. And are we answering these questions or not? Batman or Superman?
No.
Okay.
They're throwing it out there.
Here you go. I'm me, and I do my show.
Awesome, Kevin. All right, Chris?
Absolutely. My name is Chris Mao. I am co-owner of a Doctor Who themed cafe called Blue Box Cafe in Elgin, Illinois. And I host a few shows on the Southgate Media Group network, including This Week in Geek that Phil is in on, Live at the Blue Box, Binge-Worthy, and a few other shows that Rob and I do throw around. Disturb, the American Horror Story podcast.
Nice. Good. And last but not least, do I even need to say her name?
Say it in hushed tones.
For you Bruce Springsteen fans, you understand what I'm saying. So
Hey, it's Lilith. You guys know me. Right now I'm hosting with Phil over on Capes and Lunatics. I'm the lunatic, the resident lunatic of that podcast.
So, for the regular listeners, you guys already know genre backgrounds of your the terrific trio. But for Kevin and I thought we'd go, and then we could also have you guys speak up too, but to give us a little geek background. I'm older than dirt. I graduated high school in 1977. I can remember watching Star Trek the original time it was on, going home and watching Time Tunnel, and was thrilled when my parents got a color TV so I could watch Time Tunnel in color. So I am a big Star Trek fan over Star Wars, Superman over Batman, DC over Marvel, and give me Captain America over Iron Man. So I love, genre and just everything about it. And I'm excited. I'm going to Dragon Con this fall. So I skipped it last year because I went to 5 Bruce Springsteen shows instead. So I'm glad to be back at my wife's like, okay, pick. You can't do both.
I'm glad you got your priority right.
Do we have to pay the mortgage? So that's me. So Phil, how about you? Have you answered these questions to your team? Will your listeners already know what you're going to pick?
Some of them they might. Star Trek or Star Wars. Definitely, I'm a Trek guy. I like both, but definitely, Star Trek. Star Trek's been bigger in my life, and I've been in the fandom longer. Marvel or DC, that's harder. It's like trying to ask me to pick between kids.
You only have the one, Phil.
I have more than one. It's a metaphor, Lilith. Either way.
Big sitter.
Phil, that's a lot of words for you.
If you're forcing me, I might just have to pick DC. Lilith, calm down. It's just because my favorite character, Nightwing, is from DC. So
I was going to say, if with someone with a Twitter handle of Nightwing, if you picked Marvel, I'd go bop.
Superman or
Batman.
Batman.
Smash was taken.
Hello.
Oh yeah, Superman or Batman. Batman, of course. Captain America or Iron Man. It's pretty close, but I'd say by a hair, maybe Captain America.
Nice, good. All right, hey Kevin, your turn.
All right, so I'm almost older than dirt, but not quite. And Marvel or DC? Marvel. Batman and Iron Man, or Batman and Superman? Zatanna. Iron Man and Captain America, Wolverine.
Very nice. I am also a Zatanna fan, so you will get a thumbs up for that. All right. And Lilith?
So definitely Star Trek over Star Wars. Definitely DC over Marvel, although I'm kind of sick of both, and I'm in an Archie phase right now.
Nice.
Wow.
Batman or Superman? Gun in my head, I guess Batman, because they just haven't understood Superman in such a long time.
Okay.
And of course, since I like Batman, it's going to be Iron Man, because I love the captain of poor life decisions.
I think you like the billionaires, Lilith. I think that's what you're going for.
I do have a thing for Oliver Queen, too. You might be onto something.
There may be, yeah.
There's your new superhero identity, Gold Digger.
Right.
You mean Felicity Smoke?
Yeah. Oh, wow.
I don't see anything wrong with liking the people with money.
Hey, absolutely. I in fact, sharing I explained to my son, who is getting serious with his girlfriend, and I said, the nice thing about it, it's y'all's money, as we say down in Texas, y'all. So, if she makes more than you, do not worry. That is fine. All right. So I guess we understand the role. We're going to, in the spirit of, we're all holding hands. We all have had bad coffee and donuts, and we've all said, hi, I'm Jesse. I'm a geekaholic. So we're going to start out around the table, and Phil, you're leading us off. what's your, and in no particular order, what is one of your geek spots? We're going to do one at a time, go round table. We'll all talk about the other person's. And because I'm overly control boy, that's why we're doing this kind of little more organized than perhaps the team would want to.
All right. Well, since you already mentioned it and everyone knows this one, I guess I'll start off with Doctor Who.
Loser.
But why?
I've never seen an episode. One, I didn't have access to it for the longest time. Our cable system didn't carry it. And I mean, I've probably only had access where I could have watched it, I don't know, maybe the last 10 years. But you have to admit, just like Marvel and DC Comics, because the Doctor Who thing makes me see how people may probably view Marvel and DC. There's just so much history. There's so much content. It's like, where do you start?
She's a woman now.
Yeah.
The season hasn't started yet. All right.
Yeah. No, I'm going to have your back on this because, it's kind of like the random, hey, let's pick up an X-Men title. And you're like, WTF? What? I don't understand anything about this. Yeah. So I do get that. And so now
see people, I get immunity on the Doctor Who thing. That's coming from the main host of Next Stop Everywhere. The main host.
Well, I think Charles may argue with that.
That's right, Charles, the main host right there.
It is overwhelming, and I do think if you want to get into it, there is ways to do it, and we actually had a debate on that. But I applaud your courage and for sharing. I only got into it a few years ago. I think right at the end of Tennant's run is when I got into it and got bit by the bug. So totally agree, and we're good. Kevin, what's your first?
So my first one, I'll be surprised if any of you know it, but it's called The Work and the Glory, and it's a Utah thing, and I just can't get into it.
And what's the name of it?
It's called The Work and the Glory. It's church history with real life characters.
Okay.
Of real life according to the book. And I just can't, I'm an outcast in my state because I've never read it, don't want to read it. And yeah.
So you're saying you're kind of this Louisiana Cajun that doesn't like seafood, is what you're saying by not liking this, right?
Yeah, something like that.
All right. Well, I appreciate
seafood.
Yeah, I appreciate that courage. I'll have to look into that. All right, Chris, how about you? Well, with a name like Blue Box, we know it's not going to be Doctor Who.
Definitely not twist. Yes, that's a twist. I hate the show. I've only been watching it since 1978. I'm just going to say comic books in general because I never got the bug. I never really owned any. I never was into it. All of my superhero stuff is basically from TV or movies. I fell in love with books as a young child. My mom gave me The Hobbit when I was like 8 or 9. So I started reading, and once I read that, I'm like, okay, I can find stuff like that. So that's pretty much where my direction went. So, people talk about comic book things, and I go, huh? I really don't know. So that's a huge one for me, and I get a lot of crap. I'm sure you can know from Rob and Lil about that, but it's the way it goes. So.
And, that's another great example of something that, it's not on my list, but I could have included video games. Mm-hmm. I don't play video games. I recognize the greatness. I don't have time. And I'm, this whole, that's just a briar patch I'm not going to get into right now, that it's going to sink in. So, all right. Very cool. Lilith, how about you?
Lord of the Rings. Never interested me. Mm-hmm. Not even when the movies came out. Nope.
I gotta second that.
Well, it did not make my list, but it is one of the examples I gave. I've never read any of the books. I watched the movies just because at the time I was running a technical support center. We had about 150 agents, and we would do movie nights. And so we would we would rent out a theater, and the guys we'd go watch a movie theater like after a midnight showing, and we did all 3 Lord of the Rings, and I had the statement of, wow, this is a pretty intense story. The people that were fans of the book, like, yes, Jesse, it's a pretty good story. So appreciate it.
About it. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you read normally, Lilith? Are you a fan of
reader? I love fantasy epics. Tolkien style is just not my thing.
Okay, very fair.
Yeah, I can totally see that, because he is a little wordy. And I mean, as the godfather of that genre, I think he set a poor example for some people, because George R.R. Martin took it and ran it to the 20 millionth degree. But I fell in love with the story, and I can understand how you'd pick that up and read something and be like, how come he talked 8 pages about Frodo crying? What? I mean, it gets a little crazy. So I can totally see.
It's even worse in The Wheel of Time.
Oh yeah. Oh, he's Jordan is crazy, but George R.R. Martin, I think, is worse.
In the non-genre world, I've never gotten into Tom Clancy for that same reason. It's so detailed versus Clive Cussler. Like Tom Clancy will spend, 3 pages talking about how the submarine works, and Clive Cussler says they got in a submarine, and crap happens. So absolutely. So I'm gonna do. I am not a big horror guy, but I am a big comic book guy, and I've never read the Walking Dead comic. And I like the show. I've embraced the show. I think it's really good at what it does, but I just have never gone and read the source material, partly because I don't want to be spoiled, and partly because I don't like horror comics. I have Lock and Key, all the trade paperbacks I've purchased because everyone talks about how wonderful it is, and I just haven't read it yet. So specifically the Walking Dead comic, but in general, horror terms, I have not Lucifer or Preacher or all these comics. It's just not something that I enjoy doing, and so I've kind of skipped. But I feel like I'm missing just a little.
I can sympathize with you. I mean, I didn't read the Walking Dead comics until the show was maybe like in the 2nd or 3rd season. Then I bought compendiums and caught up to the monthly issues. Now I buy it monthly. I mean, I could see how you feel, but some of the stuff you might get a little spoiled because they might have a certain death, but it won't happen to the character that happened to on the show. It would happen to a completely different character, and people get killed off at different points. So I mean, there's stuff in the comics they've never done in the show, which I don't think they're ever going to do. So I mean, you could read it and not get too spoiled, but yeah, it's like 168 or 69 issues now, so it'd be quite a read.
Yeah, for the longest time I had not read Sandman, and even though I was a big Neil Gaiman fan, and then I kind of caught on it through the collections, and then became a big fan of the series. All right, so round 2, Phil.
All right. I guess I'll go with Harry Potter. I never really got into Harry Potter. I watched I think one of the movies, whatever one was out 12 years ago, and I saw it once in the theater, and I think it was on a date. And I don't remember anything that happened. I never read the books. Like I said, I saw one movie. Can't remember what happened. Harry Potter never interested me.
You missed the cusp. That's more of a real, true millennial kind of phenomenon.
Probably. Yeah, I'm old. I know.
That's impressive, because that was a tidal wave of geekdom that was out there. My wife did tell me my son was in junior high. My son's never been a reader, and so I had the very first Harry Potter book. And one of Chris's friends, Josh, is like, "Oh, Mr. Jesse, are you reading this?" Jesse, you're going to love it. And then the way home's like, "Are you a little embarrassed that you're reading the same book that a 6th grader is reading?" I'm like, "No, it's pretty good." So now, how about the rest of you, Harry Potter? Yay, nay?
I was a junior in high school and That was going to be my number 3 pick, but I guess I'll find something else now.
No. That's okay. It can still include. Very nice.
It is impressive because I am also a big reader, but anytime a big fandom like that shows up, I just bury my head in the sand that is comic books.
Mm-hmm. I've not read the Game of Thrones books, and I know I'm missing something good. I just have now made the decision I'm going to wait till the series is over. But I do feel that
you should probably wait till he's done writing the books.
Yeah, maybe
it's never going to happen.
My wife has a policy that if a show gets canceled, she immediately quits watching. She doesn't care if it's a good backup or not. She's like, okay, nope. Unless it was meant to be a mini series, I'm now out. So, so we are worried about with Mr. Martin. All right, Kevin, what's number 2?
My number 2 is Game of Thrones.
Okay.
And I don't feel like I'm missing anything.
Okay. Now, is that the book or the show as well?
Both.
Okay.
Same here. I've never read a book. I've never watched the show. And you know what? From what I hear, there's people who have I swear, road maps to chart. This one's over here, this one's here.
Right.
That's the one that's intimidating. All these family names and maps and how many books.
I will tell you that I had never read anything, and when the first episode came on, I liked it, but I was confused as heck, and so I had to watch it multiple times. Just like Walking Dead is really well done, my only argument, Game of Thrones is really well done fantasy on TV. I mean, it is a really good story and really depth and a lot of great characters, to say nothing of special effects and such. So I would recommend Game of Thrones. I wouldn't say, oh, it's absolutely your life is sucky because you're not watching, but I will say I think you're costing yourself some really high quality entertainment not getting into that.
I might have to watch a little. Oh, go ahead.
No, you're sorry. Go ahead, Kevin. Sorry.
I was going to say I might have to watch a little. I saw somebody do a Walk of Shame thing on YouTube, and
yes,
I think that might make a great cosplay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, what I would add about the Game of Thrones is if you like science fiction, if you like fantasy and the sword and sorcery stuff, they do it really well without a lot of magic. They don't use magic. It's not the basis of the world. So it's much more, as unrealistic as it is, it's a much more realistic portrayal of that genre, as opposed to, Lord of the Rings it didn't do much magic, but some of these other ones where everything is a spell or a crash or a bang, they do it like you would think they might do it in medieval times. Although it's not, it's not realistic what they do, but I think it is a good portrayal of it.
Yeah, I second that, Chris. And in fact, there is, I tried to convince my wife, who does not like genre, but she did love, the Henry VIII, the Crown, all these things. And I said, up until the last scene on the first season, there's no magic at all. Right. It truly is just medieval politics and such. So good points. All right, Chris, you're up.
I'm going to say anime is a huge hole in my, in my, I'm too old for it. I would say anime and cartoons because my cartoon was Justice League. And I think the last one I watched because I was in college was Thundercats and, maybe a little Power Rangers, maybe. But that's it. I don't know anything. Somebody comes up and says, oh, we're doing the Sailor Moon thing. I'm like, what are you talking about? I have no clue. And so whenever that comes up, I am at a complete loss. People will walk up and cosplay at all the cons I go to. And I'm like, that's cool looking. I have no idea who you are. But that's great. You did a great job. You put a lot into your costume. That's about the extent of what I got. So
yeah, it's what is the deal with these big hammers and big swords? That just seems very impractical carrying.
Well, that's also very kind of the way they're doing it in video games now too.
Yeah.
Which is cool, but I have nothing about the Japanese animation, nothing about it.
So a couple years ago, Linda decided to go to a convention with me. She wanted to, we've been married over 30 years, so we at times will indulge each other because, because we like each other and we like hanging out. So she went to a convention, and she established very quickly, if Jesse doesn't know the costume, it's anime. So, it's like, what's that? It's anime. And she just thought that. And what was funny is, a friend of the podcast, Tom Zoller, talked about, it's anime. I don't know. So yeah, that's something we've missed totally. So I'm right there.
I can't believe you said that, Jesse. That's me and my wife. It's like, what's that costume? And like, oh, that's that Marvel character. That's DC character. It's like, what's that one? And if I don't know it, I'm like, it's that Japanese anime stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, it's Doctor Who. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Doctor Who.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I've never seen the show, but I can recognize a sonic screwdriver and a TARDIS.
There you go. You at least know.
Yes.
We had a guy I worked with that my text sound is a Star Trek communicator, and he was in my office. He goes, "What's that bird?" and then he looked at my sonic screwdriver and said, "Is that a magic wand?" And someone else in the room says, "Like, just get away now. You have blown. You are 0 for 2. Just leave before something else comes up." So,
or there's a big yawning trap in front of you. You'll never escape.
Yes, exactly.
A kid that worked for me went up to we have a big Renaissance fair just north of Chicago, one of the biggest in the country, and he's a huge Doctor Who fan, as am I. That's why he works for me. And he got a sonic screwdriver wand that is fantastic. I think I'm going to go up and buy one in a couple weeks. So.
Oh, that sounds nice.
Yeah, it's really cool. If I get a picture of it, I'll shoot it to you. But
good.
It's so cool looking. I'm like, I went up the week before and didn't see it. So I'm kind of pissed, but that's good for him.
I would want that too. Very nice. Lilith?
I'm going to group these 3 things together because they have one thing in common: the boring plain girl. So that's Twilight, Divergent, and the Hunger Games. Not interested, never will be.
Oh, very interesting.
Wow.
I love how you put them together. I've never read Twilight or Divergent. I did get into the Hunger Games, and what I've told everyone is the first one's amazing, the second one, and the third one ties it up pretty well. But as a series, it was interesting. Very good.
I like Royale and all, but they did it better. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Okay, interesting. Now, movies or books? Neither one, right?
None of them.
Okay.
No books, no movies.
All right. Very interesting. Cool. All right. I'm tracking this, by the way, so that we can, share if people want. Not that anyone will really care. All right. So here's one that I am really embarrassed about being a geek guy, but there are certain movies I missed out on because they came out when Chris was little or something. So I've not seen all 3 Matrix movies, and I've never seen Blade Runner. And I know, really, Jesse? But I just never had. And I keep thinking, okay, I should just rent this, or I should get it on demand, and then just something else comes up and I haven't. So that's a big blind spot for me.
Have you seen any of the Matrix movies or none of them?
I saw the first one.
That's the only one you need to see. Let's just be honest.
That's the best one, yeah.
Okay, so I could quit while it's ahead?
But there are parts of 3 that are pretty good.
And the Animatrix is pretty good, too.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
But 2, you can miss that and be okay.
Okay, I'm okay. I'm not. It's a good blind spot. I'm not going to get hit by the car when I change lanes on this blind spot. All right.
But Blade Runner, dude, you need to see Blade Runner because
I know, right?
Especially being our age, I'm not. I'm a little bit younger than you, but not much, and have the same things. Blade Runner to me was one of those movies that I saw it and I was like, it changed my life. Not as much as Star Wars did, but you see it and you're like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing You know,
The
and
sound
especially
design alone on Blade Runner is just amazing and game changing.
And
Well,
The
2049,
first file, you definitely have to see it at least once in your life.
and 2049 is coming out soon. I mean, it's more action.
Right.
There's more Harrison Ford action there than when he's landing in a plane.
Well, and
wow.
part of my worry is, you know, because this is so there's such a high expectation, you know, could I go in with enough, you know, open-minded? For example, I had never seen the original Day the Earth Stood Still, and I happened to, you know, get it on Netflix. And, you know, at the end of it, I went, oh, my God, this was a really good movie. Not a good movie in context, just period. It stood up. It was really, you know, it lasted. It's a great classic movie. And so I think a little bit of my worry is that, you know, I'm going to go into Blade Runner and go, really? That was it? And so you guys are telling me probably not.
What? Probably not in terms of what? That it's not.
That I'm not going. I'm not going to be disappointed.
No, I don't think so. And you know, here's the hard part. And I think, especially, you know, it's funny. Rob and I were talking about this the other day. How we experienced Star Wars for the first time at the right age. Like, you know, we were in our, you know, our young teens. You see it and you're like, oh my God. Where the younger, you know, the younger of this group or any group, they grew up and Star Wars was already there. How much it changed things. When Blade Runner came out, Blade Runner was cutting edge. I mean, some of the special effects are horrible, but there was such an impact of that movie, how cool it was, how futuristic it was, how bleak it was about the future, that it kind of, I think to me, it kind of I think it's a great movie, but the meaning to me is much more than the greatness of the movie. So it may have some of that effect on the new one for you, but I don't think so. Yeah. I mean, I think you can enjoy them both, and I think it's going to be great because I think Ryan Gosling is fantastic. He's the Harrison Ford that to me never actually came out, in my opinion. The way he acts, and the way he looks, and the way he does stuff. But that's, you know, my opinion.
All right, so I don't know about anyone else, but I am going to make it a plan that I'm going to watch Blade Runner, and then if you guys will have me back, we'll do a follow-up episode with what does, you know, Jesse think of Blade Runner. All right?
Sure.
Very cool.
We should do an episode where, you know, everything we mentioned we haven't seen, we at least watch one episode or watch that movie or whatever, and everyone's reactions.
Ooh, if you're going to watch Doctor Who, what is it? Which one is it? River Song's Husbands of River Song or whatever.
River Song, yeah.
Yeah, that makes me cry every time.
Yeah.
Lilith, I'll watch it if you watch. Lilith, I'll watch it if you watch Twilight for the podcast. I'll do it.
Wow.
Are you going to see me alcohol?
Yeah.
Like you don't have an arsenal.
Lilith.
Yes. All right, so last round, Phil.
All right, I'm glad she's not in the room with me because Lilith will punch me. I've never watched Supernatural.
Me and Tyler are going to beat you up.
Oh my God. You can't be on This Week in Geek anymore. You're out. Holy, no, I'm teasing you. So,
dude, I don't know. I just, I had,
where's the pie?
I had issues with it back in the day because, you know, they took Angel off the air and replaced it with that. I was all into Angel.
And you know what?
Strike 2, by the way.
I got that. I got your back on that too. I totally understand being this, and we'll talk about mine when we get to mine list. I have some of that too. So going ahead. I went to Supernatural late. I was like, so it's 2 or 3 seasons into it, and Wendy Hemberg from Tuning Into Sci-Fi TV said, yeah, here's the first season, the one you watch, and here's the one you skip to get through the first season. So, which I appreciated. Nice. Well, I appreciate it. And, you know, safe zone here. And now then, my story about Supernatural is, you know, they say toward the end of Muhammad Ali's career, he was no longer boxing as an athlete. It was just to make money. And I think Supernatural is no longer trying to be creative. It's just keeping the cast. Keeping the cast.
Get that hate mail to Jesse.
Hey, nice. I keep watching it and I love it. But, you know.
There's nothing wrong with cash and checks, Jesse.
Exactly.
That scene where they brought the mom in was pretty good, I thought.
I actually did like the with her mom. I thought it was a nice twist, and so they just keep killing off people, and so.
What about the Leviathan? Oh my God, that was the worst.
Yeah. Although Soulless Sam was pretty good as a character, but the rest of it was just like
it was horrible.
They worked themselves into a corner.
I hate it when the brothers. Was upset when. Why didn't you go look for me? Look, when you were dead, I didn't go look for you. You didn't go look for me. But anyway, all right. Kevin, tell us what's yours.
I'm going to turn this backwards a little bit.
Okay.
And me being the geek I am, I should absolutely hate this edition of the game. But for what it's worth, 4th edition Dungeons and Dragons is all right.
So you do Dungeon? What's your?
So the geekdom would say that I should hate Dungeons and Dragons 4th edition because I've been there since the beginning and I know it's absolutely crap.
Yes.
But for what it is, it's all right. If you're looking at it as Dungeons and Dragons, then you probably should hate it. But if you're looking at it as a tactical game, more like Final Fantasy, it works.
Interesting.
I can see that point.
Yeah, since I don't role play or thing, I don't. Though that is a blind spot that I sometimes think, if I'd been younger and in college, I think I would have enjoyed the heck out of this. So, all right. Thank you. Safe zone here, Kevin. It's okay to hate, Now, do you call this a guilty pleasure, or do you just totally?
I'm not worried about the group. I'm worried about everybody watching the show.
Oh, okay.
So you can send the email to the kevinlongshow@gmail.com.
What the problem, Kevin, is like everybody has. I mean, I don't think it's wrong to like any edition better. It's what works for you. So to me, it's like you. I've been playing since like 1979. If you like any edition,
I've only been playing since '89, but same thing.
But I'm saying you've been around. You've been around a long time too. I mean, that. I always look at it if somebody's playing, it's better than them not playing whatever edition it is, because to me, it's not about the system or the rules. It's about the story and the camaraderie. Whatever rules you play by is whatever. I mean, there's a million games that you could play, but it is about that DM player kind of relationship and all that stuff. So
Agreed,
I think that's cool that you like that. So
very nice. All right, cool. All right. Chris, third.
Well, you know what? You kind of took my horror one, but I am not the biggest, like I hate to say Stephen King fan, but I'm going to go into cartoons in general, especially anything after basically like 1988. I know nothing about any of this stuff, and people, I deal with Rob, I deal with Lil, and they talk about all this stuff, and I'm like, what are you talking about?
See, you should know more. I was gonna say I didn't know much about cartoons after, pretty much after that point, but having a kid, so I mean, you hang out with Rob and Lil, that's like having two kids.
Oh, three. There's like another one that grows between them. So, yeah, no, it is. It's a big hole. Like the anime stuff. All the kids that work for me that are 20, they talk about all this stuff, and I'm like, what are you talking about? And I think I'm pretty tied into this whole geekdom. I'm not.
I'm hip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I certainly remember Space Ghost as a kid, and the Super Friends and the Batman and Superman, or Aquaman Hour with Casey Kasem as Robin. All those I remember. Hot Wheels and Scooby Doo.
Johnny Quest.
Yeah, Johnny Quest.
Awesome. Yeah.
Why do we not have a live action Johnny Quest?
Well, it's called Indiana Jones, kind of, isn't it? So
yeah, absolutely.
Johnny Quest would be creepy live action, because I don't think they could get away with what they did. Hey, we're going to leave the kids alone, and they're going to get captured by terrorists. Okay, no problem.
And just why are the Johnny's dad and Ray Spanning so close? I'm just saying.
You know what? I think out of all the things that would make it not acceptable to make that movie today, the fact that those two were so close would not be a problem.
I actually think that would be a great twist.
Sure.
Yeah. Then I went to with my son, so the Batman Adventures, Superman Adventures, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the early 90s X-Men, I go where I want to go. I do what I want to do. I'm Wolverine. I get that. But I was like, there was a Transformers cartoon? I didn't know this.
What, from the 80s?
Yeah, I didn't watch it. I was,
that was my
Everybody
childhood.
knows that the early 2000s Transformers are superior. Just saying. Everybody
Are
knows
you
that.
kidding me? Original.
The ka-ching button? Really, Phil? No depth, no nothing. Just money. Just buy these toys, kids.
I'm sorry, but how many
1986 movie? How many Transformers got killed in that 1986 movie? They killed off.
You went back in the 80s.
How many kids in the 80s needed depth in their cartoons? The fact that they were on TV was good enough for me.
They didn't even
it was not a lot of competition. Same thing with Jim and the Holograms. It was a Barbie knockoff machine. That's all it was.
If you see those old Justice Leagues, they didn't even do the backgrounds completely. They just kind of threw Robin up there and said,
right.
"Hey, the Wonder Twins, great. That's awesome."
Yeah.
Like Scooby-Doo, they run past the same painting 20 times.
Absolutely. All right, Lilith, your third one.
Ooh, this is a tough one, but I'm going to go with the TV show Chuck.
Okay.
It's not like I intentionally snubbed it, but I was going through a thing with NBC. I just didn't trust them anymore. They're at that phase where it's they're going to cancel anything that's high concept sci-fi, so I'm not even going to give them a chance. And it ended up lasting 5 seasons or whatever, and I was just I'll get back around to it. I like Zach, I just never did.
I don't think you're missing anything. I saw a few episodes and the partner, she was hot, but that was about it.
There we go.
Yeah, I stuck with Chuck, and I think it's certainly worth. I think it's worth watching. I don't know if it's a classic, but it certainly was a fun run, and they gave us a good ending. And a man named Jane, Baldwin had a great part in it, so I think it was really fun. But I could see that going. So,
See, I thought it lost steam after the first year. Chuck was great, I thought, and then they kind of went, "Oh, I don't know what we're going to write about." That was my perception.
Yeah.
I just couldn't make it past the first season. So,
Lilith, I do think there is. You're not alone in thinking that the show's just going to get canceled anyway. Why bother watching it?
Come on, we all know how NBC is. We know
exactly.
Friday night death slot.
Mm-hmm. So, I way back in the 70s, there was a really cheesy show where the Air Force went and Project UFO, where they went and looked after UFOs. So when this show called The X-Files came on, I went, oh, this is just a cheesy remake of that really bad show. And so I never watched The X-Files. And then all of a sudden, word gets out that this is just an amazing show. And now then the train's gone too far, right? Okay, I've missed this out. I didn't watch Alias when it first came out, but then I ended up binging it on DVDs. But, and so I know that The X-Files is this great series, and I know it did a lot of wonderful things, but it's just something I've never taken time to watch. And I feel a little guilty about it, but it's a blind spot, which is the whole purpose of the show, right? To talk about this episode.
I can't believe you haven't watched the X. I know. I can't believe you haven't watched the X-Files and Charles still talks to you.
Shh, don't tell him. I have all the new. I have all the new Twin Peaks on the DVR. I haven't watched it yet, but
Oh, no.
I keep telling him I'm going to get to it. I'm going to get to it.
You better put a picture of David Duchovny up behind you or something.
Exactly right. So, yeah, I know that. Okay, any honorable mentions you want to go around? And then I have, we posted on Facebook, and I've got a few things to add that people posted, but any last minute honorable mentions you guys wanted to share?
Who hasn't seen Firefly? Come on, confess. I know one of you.
Who has what?
Firefly.
Hasn't seen
There's a lot of
Firefly.
people who, yeah.
Oh, hasn't or loved
Hasn't.
it?
Has
Oh,
not.
no, are you kidding
I think
me?
you're the only one.
You're the
No,
only
I've
one.
seen it. I'm a brown coat all the way. But there's
Yeah.
always those people.
All right.
What's the point of Han Solo if it's a ship full of Han Solos?
What do you mean those people?
You know.
Well, and the beauty of Firefly is you can say, look, it's a half season. You can watch it. If you watch 2 or 3, and if you aren't getting it, fine. But if you at all, I mean, I didn't get into Buffy until I heard about they added this new sister, Dawn, and how clever it was, because they act like she's always been there, and they kind of talked about on Happy Days. Remember, Chuck was the older brother, and they wrote him out.
To the room and never came back.
Yeah, and so I kind of caught up on Buffy, via DVD, and went, wow, this is, I did miss something pretty special. So good. All right, the only other thing I had, and the reason I'm bringing it up is because a couple other people did. In fact, I'll wait for the comments. All right. Devin Pike, big Doctor Who fan here in Dallas, says, I haven't watched one episode of Supernatural, nothing past the first 4 episodes of Game of Thrones. So he hit a double bingo of what some of we did. So thank you for sharing, Devin.
That's weird, because if you like Doctor Who, there really is no reason not to like Supernatural. I mean, you know how it goes, the Sherlock, Supernatural, Doctor Who fandom kind
Right.
of fight.
Yep.
I'm very surprised, but I mean, I can see that. I mean, it's a lot of time. It was a WBCW joint, and there's a lot of issues with some of what they do. I love it, but I could see how you not like it. I really could. So
absolutely. So Holly McMiller is always sends feedback for our Doctor Who podcast and our American Gods and Game of Thrones podcast. Said, haven't read the Dark Tower saga by Stephen King, and I'm going to raise my hand. I'm a big Stephen King fan, but I've never read that series, and I just for some reason I just haven't, and I don't know if it's because I'm just I got burned out on King or not. But so for those of you who have, is it very Stephen King-ish?
I like the connectedness of the world. Like, I got steeped into the world, and that's what really drew me in. I love world building, and the characters are really rich, and they pop in that world. I think it's worth it, especially with the prequel or whatever they're doing with that movie with Idris Elba. I think if you like that, maybe go back and read the books.
Okay.
See how you like that movie.
Yeah.
All right.
And I don't think it's very Stephen King-ish, although he's in there. I think it was a big step for him. It was out of his comfort zone. I think the books are great.
Okay, good deal. All right. So Andrew Cross said, only seen a few episodes of Supernatural, and drum roll, I've never watched a single episode of Doctor Who all the way through. Andrew, it's a good thing we don't work together anymore, because you may have gotten the worst shift in the call center. So I'm seeing a pattern here. Supernatural is not getting a lot of love.
It's 13 seasons. It's a lot to take in.
Yeah, that is the other reason you're kind of like, oh, okay, I'm overwhelmed. John Palovich, who used to do a Castle podcast and still continues to podcast, he's brought up something that I felt very close to home. He says, having just watched the trailer for the film last night, I'm reminded I've never read the book Ready Player One. I haven't either. And
You better go do that.
Yeah, I hear it's really good. Readers, have any of you guys read it?
The 80s reboot Overdrive and the Kevin Long Show have done a special episode of Ready Player One.
Okay.
You can go
All
check
right.
that out, or you can send me your address and I will send you a copy of the book.
Wow, that's nice. It is on my Kindle to purchase, so I will do that for you, Kevin.
Kevin, you're about to get bombarded with emails from listeners.
So Kevin, you say you like the book.
That
I love
offer is for
the
Jesse
book.
Jackson. Yeah, okay,
I was
great.
going to say, I only have one copy Bobby. So the first person to email me.
Yeah.
Done.
My brother Dean, thank you, Dean, for commenting, says, I can appreciate they're supposed to be wonderful, but never got into the Stargate shows, though he loved the movie, or Farscape. I did a Farscape podcast, so I appreciate that. I think Farscape is really something entertaining and in its own unique way, pretty special. But I gotta agree, I've never watched Stargate. Mostly because I didn't have Showtime at the time, and then after a while, it's on, and you're like, "Oh, I'll just move on." There's too much to watch. Any Stargate?
Wasn't Stargate on WGN first, and then it went to Showtime, or the other?
Well, it was first run syndication all across the country, and WGN was one of the stations that had it. I know UPN had it. Wow, that's a throwback, right?
Yeah.
Wow. Not Me TV or whatever it is now. Holy cow.
Yeah. Wow.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know it was weird.
I liked Atlantis better than the original one.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't Atlantis go on? Was that the one that was on Showtime?
Or was
it
that
the other way
Universe?
around? I can't remember. I
don't remember.
Yeah, I know it had a really it's a beautiful, it had created a great universe, and I just, I missed the bus and never caught up.
And
first series is great, though, definitely.
Yeah.
You really liked Farscape as much as I did, because I thought that was the whole idea of that was pretty incredible.
Yeah, I did, Chris. And, I tried to explain to my brother, he says, they're just stupid puppets. And I go, I swear, if you just give it enough time, by the end of the first season, you quit thinking of them as puppets and you think of them as characters. And yeah.
Although Rigel I always had a problem with, but that's,
Well, yes, Rigel is the character you love to hate. James Ryder says he hadn't read Dark Towers, never seen Blade Runner or an episode of Doctor Who, plus no Goonies. Wow, James, what have you been doing with your time?
Okay, I've never seen Goonies.
You've never seen Goonies? Oh.
That's a boy movie. Yuck.
There's girls in there.
Come on. I can't stand the Corys.
Just because there are girls in it doesn't mean it's a girl movie.
It's thrown out up in the train. The Ferrellis, right? Or the Fratellis.
I think that should be required for your childhood in the United States.
Nah, I'd rather have Sandlot.
I would say no.
Sorry.
Yeah. I
did
not enjoy Goonies.
What, the nerd one, you have to watch 2001 all the way through.
Oh, that's a challenge.
Yeah,
in one sitting.
You got to watch Blade Runner.
Yeah. And the last comment from Brandon Pugh, I feel like I need to throw Fringe into the conversation. I was a little surprised about that, but I'm sure Fringe has the same thing going against that Chuck did, right? It's on Fox. It's science fiction. There's no way this thing will last. And it did. And I'm a big fan of the series. I think they did a great job of combining an overall arc with individual episodes. And I thought it was really interesting to see. Any other Fringe love in the room?
Yes. I love Fringe. That was so great.
All right, very nice. Hey, Lilith,
I never got into it. That's weird. I mean, you would think that Fox would be the station that would make those run. I mean, they did, X-Files. They were the network willing to take chances and had some backup.
Well, they were the new kid on the block too. Sure. Same thing with Married with Children and all those other things that was groundbreaking. They needed to generate a new kind of audience, not your mom and pop CBS, ABC, CBS, and so. Mm-hmm.
And then they couldn't steal the superhero like CB is now or whatever. It gets ridiculous, but that's okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you, listeners, for sending in the feedback. Any final thoughts? So I've signed up that I'm going to watch Blade Runner. Anyone else want to sign up for one of their missing holes, and they will, and we'll come back at a later time and discuss.
If you send me some suggestions, I'll watch some Doctor Who.
Okay, I'm going to send you a list, Phil. Everybody send them a list.
I'll get up on that.
It's going to be interesting because it'll be different, I guarantee it, but that's okay.
Well, I would go Vincent the Doctor. If you like emotional, I think Blink would be good. We'll talk about that. There's some good episodes.
The Marsh people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Power of Crawl, that'd be good.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's old
He's
school.
so lost. He's just like, oh God, what did I do?
Yeah, please. What I do.
What,
All right.
Let's just make it simple. Anything with the fourth Doctor is good.
Yeah. Anyone else going to volunteer?
I'll
I
watch
can watch his
Predator
first
too.
season of Chuck. I'll see how it goes.
Okay. All
I'm
right.
not watching anime. Just want to let you know.
Yeah.
Not happening.
I don't
Dude,
blame you.
Dragon Ball. Just
No. It's awful.
There's nothing wrong with Sailor Moon.
Sailor Moon's good, but you have don't watch it dubbed. Watch it subbed.
My kids argue over which dub to watch. They're like, you can't watch this one. You have to get this voiceover because it's way better. I'm like, there's more than one? What are you talking about?
Just anything on Crunchyroll, you're good. Just sign up for the free trial on Crunchyroll. You'll be okay.
That's awesome. All right.
You could watch Ruby, and then you'll get the cartoon experience, but because it's made by Americans, it's not really anime.
Now, I want to ask you, Chris, did you watch Iron Giant?
I did not.
Okay, so I recommend that.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, Brad Bird, before he did, he had done anything for Pixar. I think it's a really good animated show. I think in a lot of ways it's a wonderful Superman movie. So I would recommend the Iron Giant.
Sure. All right, I'll take a look at that.
All right, good. All right. Any other final thoughts, guys? All right, let's go around the table. How can we reach you?
Starting with who?
Phil. We'll say the same.
All right.
Same order.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, if you want to get a hold of me, you can always email me, nightwingpdp@gmail.com. On Twitter, I am at nightwingpdp. And since we're on Capes and Lunatics, call our voicemail. If you don't want to type anything to us, or if you want to see more of this, the voicemail, 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. Don't let Jesse Jackson hog the lines. We love him, but we want to hear more people too. So
Thank you. I always appreciate of course, Jesse. If we ask Jesse to call, he'll call. So
we love hearing
I
from you, but
appreciate
it's like
that.
someone else.
Yeah, exactly. Very good. Kevin,
Okay, so
how about you? How can we reach you, and what do you got coming up?
Oh, what do I have coming up? I don't know what we got coming up, but you can find us on Facebook at The Kevin Long Show. You can also email us at thekevinlongshow@gmail.com. And yeah, that's it. That's all I got.
Okay, good. Chris, if we're on Saturday nights, we can go hang out at the restaurant, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Well, absolutely. So I can be reached. The restaurant information is www.theblueboxcafe.com. I can, our stuff can be found at Blue Box Cafe or Blue Box Cafe 176 on social media. And hey, Jesse, I want to thank you for kind of throwing out this idea and getting us all together. I think that was really great, and I think you do a really nice job of, I don't want to say including everybody, but I think you're really, I think it's really nice that you do that, and it's very cool because, we all kind of get into our own little thing, and it's hard for us to break out because we're concentrating on that, and I think that's awesome that you did. So thank you for doing this work.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. All right. And Lilith.
You guys can live tweet with me most Sundays and Mondays at Lilith Hellfire. Sundays I'm doing Claws on TNT, and Mondays are Daytime Divas on VH1. And for everything else, Adventures in FG. That's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest at Adventures in FG. And be sure to check out my website, Adventures in Fangirling. I'm gonna finish up my review for Girls Trip, which was breaking records for the type of movie that it is. So I'm really excited that it did well because I love Queen Latifah and Jada Pinkett Smith. As long as she's not Fish Mooney.
And she's the world's #1 Aquaman fan.
Is Claws good?
Mm-hmm.
It's funny, and I like it a lot. I like it for the fashions, and I love Niecy Nash. So if you love what was that, Reno 911, and you love Niecy Nash, this is right up your alley.
I've not seen any of those, but I like getting my nails done, and I like fashion too. So
there you go.
Yeah, it's good. It's funny too.
Yeah,
and it's got Michael Emerson's wife Carrie Preston in it, and she's a con artist. It's great. It's really good stuff.
Oh, very cool.
Check it out.
All right. Well, I am at Jesse Jackson DFW. I am Next Stop Everywhere. Is the Doctor Who podcast I'm on with Charles that we talked a couple of times tonight. We are in the dry spell between new Doctor Who and Christmas. So we are going through a whole series of episodes that deal with regenerations. So we're kind of going through the time. And so that's exciting. And then my other podcast, Set Lusting Bruce, which is my Bruce Springsteen podcast, though it's really more about Bruce's fans. And right now we're going through a series of episodes where, and I throw this open to all of you, I've asked other podcasters who aren't Bruce Springsteen fans to come on. I give them 10 Bruce Springsteen songs in advance. They listen to them, and then we go through them and they discuss whether they like them or not. And it's been kind of fun because some of them they hate, some of them they like, but it's been for a good discussion, which is the whole purpose of a podcast. So I appreciate that.
I'll do it.
Oh, all right. Very nice, Kevin. I will get in touch with you. All right. So I think that is it for me. Phil, you want to take back control of the bus and close us out?
Yeah, I just want to, thank everyone. Check out everybody's podcasts. Thank you. I don't want to hop on Chris's bandwagon, but thank you, Jesse, for putting this together. And, I think we all had a great time. This is going to be great entertainment for anyone who hears it. And we'll see how we got to get together at some point after everyone does their homework. And I love podcasting with Jesse Jackson, but you get homework.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's what I do. Yeah. Thanks, guys. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.